Amy, welcome.
Thank you. It's really exciting to be here.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy in here today, and I'm really excited to kind of dive into the way the State Department, who we've seen as this really tremendous adopter of AI so far, and hear about how you guys are moving towards agentic AI. So let's start at the beginning, though, because we've heard a lot about the success of State Chat, and would love to kind of get a backfill on how things have progressed since then, because that was a really momentous point for you guys, and would love to hear how things have progressed since then. So let's start with State Chat and how you're looking to adopt AI tools beyond that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. The State Department has really seen a strong adoption in AI. I think more importantly than that, it's been very sustained. We're getting people asking us for more and more and more, and they want to use more advanced tools. They want to develop on their own. They want to think about incorporating AI in their own workflows. So State Chat is our generative AI chatbot. It has about 58,000 users. And it's being used in about over 98% of our 270 missions and posts around the globe. So when we started to think about adoption at the State Department, we really started with the foundation of let's make AI part of people's everyday workflows. And I think that part of it has really helped people, the workforce who are using it, understand what AI is, what it can do, and what its limits are. And that has set us up really strongly for building trust in our workforce with AI tools, and it has allowed us to start thinking about what's next.
I would imagine agentic AI, it's the, model or I guess, technology type at the tip of everyone's tongue. So where are you in the adoption of agentic AI as people really kind of swarm towards this new technology?
Yeah, so we're at an exploration stage, but we're being really intentional about where we start to think about agentic AI. We think about, so I think Jameson talked about answers, moving from answers to action. I think about it more as using AI to assist in our everyday work and advancing to and thinking about moving forward to advance our workflows. So if AI is an assistant to our employees, where it's helping them translate documents, it's helping them co-draft memos, it's helping them summarize meeting notes, and then sending out emails of the thousands of meetings that our diplomats attend every day. Agentic AI is really the executive assistant that we're looking at for advancing our workflows. And I think the way that we've integrated AI into the department, that our employees are ready for that next step with a lot of guardrails and input from the workforce about how we move forward in doing that.
I'm glad you mentioned the guardrails, because with agentic AI, it seems like, there's a hesitance to, not let it go unchecked, that, taking those actions may be something we want to ease into. So talk to me about the risks that come with agentic AI and how you're navigating that. Obviously, in the federal space, your own agency is going to kind of place guardrails and come up with your own policies and things of that nature, but you also have other entities like OMB that are sort of looking at the broader picture. So how are you navigating that? Are you working with OMB or waiting on OMB, or are you taking action on your own to kind of set those guardrails independently?
Sure. We're being, as I mentioned, we're being very intentional about where we start thinking about agentic AI. So we're thinking it more in areas that have complex work processes, but more structured judgment required, right? We're thinking about areas that, like that are high volume workflows. I think the Colonel mentioned PCSing, that's permanent change of station. So we have diplomats, thousands of diplomats that were moving across the globe, and that imagine having to move every 2 or 3 years somewhere across the globe. You either are moving as an individual, you're moving as a family, you have children who have educational requirements, you have dogs who are part of your family, who you consider as part of your family, or cats. That is a very high volume, multi-step workflow that cuts across dozens of systems at the State Department, and that's where we're thinking about AI at that orchestration level. We're, at the same time that we're doing that, we want to make sure that we have the right guardrails in place. And we are instituting a hybrid approach. So, of course, we're going to align our work with the OMB requirements. We're going to align our work with the NIST standards. And we're going to develop our own mission-specific guardrails. And we want to think about making decisions around and being very transparent about what kinds of decisions that AI can make. We want to make sure that employees understand that the actions that are taken, the outcomes that are taken are owned by them. And we want to be sure we have the mechanisms in place, the architecture, the infrastructure in place to be able to monitor what decisions that an agentic AI tool is making and why it's making those choices.
So I jumped ahead a little bit in our conversation, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about, specific workflows for state that you're thinking for agentic. I think you touched on it a bit, but just kind of go with me there for a moment to just kind of loop back and give the audience an understanding of where you envision this really being meaningful within the State Department.
Yeah, what we're looking at right now is we have help desks that cut across the enterprise. So you have IT help desks, you have HR help desks that I mentioned, you have financial help desks, so voucher processing, things like that. Those types of really complex, multi-step system decisions and processes is where we're really focused on exploring the use of agentic AI at the department. We're not going to start with agentic AI that makes foreign policy decisions. We're not going to do that. But there's a lot of ways that agentic AI could be used in that process. For example, stress testing policies, giving a persona to an agent and asking it to provide input on a policy, on a foreign policy decision to help you craft a message, to help you stress test that policy. We're going to explore those. We're going to really start with trying to reduce administrative burden for our employees and our workforce, and ensure that they have the tools and that can reduce that administrative burden so that they can focus on their diplomatic work across the globe.
Well, it's really exciting stuff, and I definitely want to keep an eye on how this progresses, because it sounds like you guys are really doing a really incredible work at State Department. Amy, thank you so much for your time, and let's give her a round of applause for her participation. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.